Good morning and welcome to Adobe Productions on StorNext. I'm going to spend the next 20-30 minutes going through a presentation and a live demonstration from our guest, Van, with Adobe. Jessica, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, great. Everybody, again, to our next session. If you'd like to move to the title slide of this presentation, we wanted to kick things off by welcoming Adobe, who is joining us today. I wanted to move to slide 1. I'd like to introduce Van Bedient, who is with Adobe. And Van has a long career in post-production, almost 3 decades, where he started out and served in the music and sound effects as an editor and audio mixer, and has had a really significant career in the media and entertainment industry, and now with Adobe. So in today's session, we're going to be covering, or Van specifically will be covering Adobe Productions, and along with Everett Ward from Quantum, who is one of our technical marketing engineers, and who will be speaking to StorNext as it relates to using Adobe Productions in your environment. And I am Jessica Eiler, one of Quantum's product marketing managers, and we welcome you to joining our session today. We will have a Q&A at the end, so feel free to use the question function through the WebEx, and we'll keep a tally of those to address at the end. And with that, I'm going to let you guys go. Thanks again.
Okay, thanks, Jessica. Sorry about the mix-up there at the beginning, but I think we're moving on here. So one of the first things we want to go over is kind of a reference architecture that we put together for working with Adobe Productions. We're going to show the connectivity that we have between direct attached clients, whether it's fiber channel IP over RDMA, or DLC, which is our proprietary LAN client, or the traditional Ethernet connectivity with SMB or NFS. So this is all connected through a StorNext global namespace. So what is Adobe Productions? I'm not going to get too deep into that because we have Van here to really explain it to us, but high level, it's basically a completion of how Adobe works with shared project workflows. Some of the main benefits listed below, and I break up large projects for speed and organization, avoid duplicate clips by cross-referencing assets, easily reuse projects, and then, of course, collaboration within the production. Question, so why did we test Productions? Well, first thing we wanted to do is, as a partner with Adobe, we were very keen on exploring the Productions in the StorNext environment. So we have several mutual customers that can effectively deploy the Productions on current or future installs of our shared storage. So we wanted to see how that worked with running on top of a file system of StorNext. So we tested so during the testing phase of the beta software, we went through different types of collaboration across different types of client connectivity with SMB, or with different connectivity with direct attached, or just strictly SMB to SMB. Some of the other reasons, we just wanted to make sure that we were able to see notifications and have the locking mechanism that Productions provided during this testing. Okay. So before we get into Van's presentation, I just wanted to give a few steps that we took in advance setting up a file system. Basically, you either have a file system already defined, or you're creating a new one. But one of the things that we do is we also have to enable remote notifications within the StorNext configuration. So if it's an existing file system, you just need to go into the edit side of it and enable remote notifications, and then either have an SMB share or create one on top of the NAB stack on top of the Axelis appliance. And then accessing the share. So essentially, there's a couple different ways. In the next slide, I'll kind of go into what they were. Some of our customers have already, have this configuration already designed. But I just wanted to show a couple different ways that you would see it with. So StorNext on the left, direct attached. We would use a DLC connectivity. When you just go in and select enable LAN client, or under normal conditions, you would just have a connection through fiber channel or over IP. And then, of course, on SMB, I showed a couple of examples here of what it would look like for SMB mounted options for Mac, and then, of course, Adobe Share on a Windows side. So that being said, I kind of went through that kind of quickly. I think that at this point here, so we can want to get into more of what Van's going to bring to the table today, show a live demonstration. So I'd like to kind of pass it over to Van to have to give us a live demonstration. And I think you have it, Van.
Thanks, Everett. I'm really happy to be here today. Appreciate the partnership with Quantum. You guys have been a fantastic partner for Adobe. And very, very excited to talk about productions today. So this is something that we've been working on for quite some time, and we're very excited to have in the market. It began shipping back in April, so it's currently available in Premiere Pro. It's not an extra option or add-on or anything you need to buy. It's inherently built into Premiere Pro, so you just need to download the latest version. And there's a really great user guide we recommend you download as well, and it'll get you started on production. So before we jump into a demo, let me just talk for a second about collaboration in general. It's a word that's used a lot and thrown around quite a bit. And ultimately, to me, it comes down to when I have multiple people working together, how do I keep track of who's working on what part of the project? And how do we make sure we don't overwrite each other's work or duplicate each other's work? So those are really critical aspects of collaboration that we set out to solve with productions. And as I walk through it, hopefully you'll see some of the areas and some of the work that we've done to address that. So taking a quick look over here on the left, this is my new production panel. So we're pretty excited to have this integrated inside the application, and I'll just expand this here so we can do a quick little walkthrough and tour across it. Simplicity by design was one of the things that we set out to accomplish, and just wanted to make it very intuitive, very simple, not overcomplicated, and something that people could pick up pretty quickly. You'll see we kind of restricted the metadata to what's important in this scenario, date modified, date created, and size. And I'll talk about how we keep the project's sizes small and more flexible and performant in productions. Taking a closer look at the interface, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in for a minute here. So what we're seeing is essentially these are all project files organized in a production. So a production is a master collection of projects, and you sort of have this command center or dashboard here in the production panel. So by breaking up our project into smaller components, it allows us to flexibly assign work to different users, multiple users working together in parallel, again, without making sure they're not overwriting anybody's work or that there's any conflicts being created, et cetera. So we've sort of componentized the project, and there's no set way to do that. You can do it in a number of different ways, depending on the type of content you're working on. And broadcast and sports and advertising tend to divide things up different ways than they might in episodic television or in feature film or documentary type of work. So it allows for total flexibility to set things up, and it's whatever is most suited for your work environment. On the icons here, the hollow icon signifies a project that I do not currently have open. The solid icon means I do have it open, and you'll see also this pencil, or in some cases a lock icon, that signifies whether I have read or write access enabled for that project. Before I dive in deeper into some of the functionality, just finishing out the overview here on the production panel, you'll see down here at the bottom there's new project, new folder. And folders are just a level of organization, so you can build these out as deep as you want, and you can build projects out as deep as you want. We've seen thousands of projects broken up over large feature film type of workflows, and it's very efficient, holds up really, really well. The last thing I'll point out is visibly you can also see here my name indicated next to projects that I have open, or my colleague Carl has a project open as well. So you have a nice visual into who's working on what sections of the project to make sure that, again, you're collaborating together and seamlessly, no matter where the distance might be. And this is actually sort of interesting if we take a look under the hood at the production panel. So I'll go ahead and just reveal in Finder what we see underneath the hood in Productions. And it's actually a one-to-one relationship we'll see here with this folder on disk. So this is a production folder that's being stored on StorNext file system, and it's sort of dynamic in the way it reacts. So if I rename at the desktop level sound to sound effects, you'll notice in the bottom left I have sound there in my production panel, and that's going to immediately update and reflect that change. So on the left side of the production panel here, everything that's happening is dynamic. If multiple users are working together, renaming, creating, deleting projects, etc., all of that, creating folders and organization, all of that's immediately reflected to all users. On the second side of it is where we use project locking to make sure that we're kind of having an intrinsic version management built into production. So when I have a project open, like you'll see here, and I have the green pencil icon indicated also here in the production window, that means I have read and write access to this project. So everything within this project, I can add content, I can rename clips, I can create sequences and edit them, I can delete files, I can have full read and write access and control over this project while I have the green pencil icon. Just by simply clicking the lock or right-clicking here to change to read-write or read-only mode, I've now locked the project. And in this case, I can read everything in the project still. So no matter what the status of any of the projects are in a production, I can read any asset that's in a production at any time. So I have full access to read sequences, do exports, create lists, load clips into Source Monitor, edit with them. Regardless of the status of the lock, I can read the entire production in real time. But when a project is locked, like I'm indicating here with this red lock icon, you'll see as I go over the sequence and I try to drag and make changes here and let it go, it's physically preventing me from making any changes. So this is kind of some of that, again, kind of intrinsic version management that's built in here. It doesn't allow any changes to a sequence while it's locked. I'm completely protected, making sure that no one else is making changes to this while that's happening. And to change the status again, I can just simply click the lock. Now you'll see when I drag a clip, move it within a sequence, I have full access to make those changes. So that's really important, again, to make sure we're not duplicating anybody's work. I don't have to worry about multiple versions of a sequence that might be creating, or that I might not have noticed that the project was locked, and I might continue to be working in this sequence and then realize later I'm not able to save the changes because it was locked. So we make sure that you don't get into that scenario. If it's locked, you physically cannot make changes, but that doesn't mean that I can't use assets from here. So I can copy and paste assets from here. I can make a full copy of the sequence while it's locked. So if I consciously want to make a branch to maybe add some alternate music, etc., I have full capabilities to do that. But this is great, the organization. We're showing sort of the layout and how you can segment your project into these sort of atomic components that I can assign different tasks to different people. But one of the things that's really powerful about Productions is the new media management, the new data model that's under the hood, which we spent a lot of time working with customers to really refine and improve this. So within production now, if I take a sequence here, and what I'm going to do is just simply drag it from one project to the other, and go ahead and let go, and you'll see some new behavior in Premiere Pro. So in the past, when that would happen, what would be a result is that moving a sequence between projects would want to bring all of the reference clips associated with that project along with it. So I would end up with multiple copies of these clips across these different projects, because I couldn't have a sequence just represented in a project without its dependent clips that make up that sequence. In this case now with Productions, we're able to continuously track throughout the entire production the relationship of clips and sequences. So sequences remember their relationships with clips. Clips always remember their relationship with sequences. And this means that within a production, I only need to have one instance of a clip anywhere in the production, and it can be referenced across multiple projects. It can be referenced across multiple sequences, as many as I want, without ever creating duplicates. This really helps us keep the projects light and fast. They load faster, they save quicker. Everything is just overall more responsive. And also the benefit of kind of breaking up this project into components is that when I open it up, if I'm going to work on my cuts bin today, and that's all I need to work on, I don't have to worry about loading and indexing all of the media of the production. I can go right to work on the area I need to without worrying about any extra overhead or taxing on the system, working with large amounts of content. To kind of demonstrate this relationship here, I'm going to click on a clip here, the random clip in the sequence, and say reveal in project. So if I wanted to go back and maybe find a different multi-camera angle for this shot or a different audio channel from the original source clip, when I reveal in project, you'll see that it even opened the project because I didn't have it open and took me to the exact clip where that is referenced within this sequence. Again, sequences and clips, remembering their relationship throughout a production. So this new view management is very powerful. It helps customers stay organized, helps the project stay light, as we mentioned. Overall, much more performant, much better experience. We've had phenomenal feedback from customers about how much simpler this is and how much faster it works, working especially, as I mentioned, with large amounts of content. A couple other things to mention here, if I'm working with multiple editors, and let's say I opened a sequence 2 hours ago and Everett's been working on it as well, and as he goes to save changes, I will get a little notification here saying that, hey, there's been some changes published because it was just saved in the background and your version was open 2 hours ago. So let's go ahead and refresh that to make sure that you're up to date with the latest changes in the project. So this can be mapped as a keyboard shortcut, but I have some new options here for refresh project. And under the file menu, there's a bunch of new options, save all, close all, and refresh all. So again, those can all be mapped as quick shortcuts to recall at any time. This makes it really easy to just sort of reprogram that behavior to make sure that I'm looking at a production globally rather than just a specific project. Speaking of globally, we've also added the ability to control settings at a global level. So within productions, I have production settings and general and scratch disk where I can set my render files to be in the same location on the StorNext file system so that if I render and Everett opens a sequence, he's going to see all the renders and benefit from that, doesn't have to re-render any of the content. Also, we can centralize our autosave folders to make sure our backups are there and simple to back up at the end of the night or whenever I want. Keeping everything globally centralized as far as project settings and production settings is really helpful when you're working with lots and lots of different users working across this storage system. So we've been pretty excited with the results of this. It's something that we've built based on a lot of feedback from customers. It's really been a phenomenal launch. We've had fantastic adoption and fantastic feedback. And we're always looking to engage with customers to improve our products. So it's really one of the ways that we benefit the most in improving our products is being customer-led and making sure that we're incorporating a lot of the feedback we get from users to make things better overall and improve the experience overall. So we hope that you'll try out Productions. It's very simple to set up. Under the File menu, you just say New Production, and you can get that set up. One of the things I didn't mention on the as far as the setup is under Preferences, Collaboration, you can set your username here. So that's one of the things where I've set my name here, and that's what indicates in the production window who you're collaborating with. So you can see names here. It's not tied to a system name or a long string or anything like that. You can make it a user-friendly name. If you're working in an operation with lots of people where you interact a lot, you can also maybe tag your phone extension at the end there just so everybody can stay in touch that way. A lot of people are using different methods of communication. And one of the last couple things I'll mention is Productions can run in an offline disconnected environment for very secure content or secure InfoSec requirements for different facilities, and it can run in a fully connected environment. So again, we're really happy this is built into Premiere Pro as a native feature, no options to buy, available now, and we hope you guys will download it, take a look, and we'd love to hear feedback about it. So really pleased to have the opportunity to present this for you today, and I hope you learned a little bit about Productions. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, and we'll go ahead and send it back over to the Quantum team.
Okay, thanks, Van. Appreciate it. I think I will, as soon as I grab that, Randy, you want to transfer that back to me? I have one less slide we'll just stick up there, and then we'll have some Q&A, but 9 minutes for Q&A. I will share my last screen. Jessica, it didn't really any Q&A there that we should go through there?
So again, I wanted to welcome everybody. If you have some questions that you would like to ask directly to Van about Adobe Productions or Everett with regard to StorNext, this is your opportunity. We're here and available. Right now, I do not show a question coming in. Wanted to see if there are any other additional pointers, Van, that you would want to cover.
Sure, I'd be happy to go through a few more things here. Want me to go ahead and take the screen back?
Yeah. Yeah, well, you think about that. We get this set up there. Van, we did have somebody just jump in with a question. Want to know if Productions is built into Premiere, or do you just download it from somewhere else?
It is a great question. It is built into Premiere Pro, so it's not an option you have to purchase or add on, etc. It's a native feature inside Premiere Pro. So if you just download the latest versions of Premiere Pro as of April 14th was when this released, you'll see access to that there, and you can get started right away.
Okay.
As I mentioned, and we'll work to follow up, there is a really useful user guide for Productions that we built, and it's built from the team that designed Productions, so a lot of deep understanding about how it works, and it's a really great guide to sort of explain the use cases. One of the things that I mentioned is workflows for working with multiple users when someone else might be working on a sequence that you wanted to get access to. So let me just walk through that here. So I've got a sequence here, and it's currently locked to me, so someone else is working on it. I can't trim, I can't make changes to it while this is happening, but if I decided I wanted to make a branch of this because I wanted to try some alternate versions of music, a couple ways I can do it. I can hold Command and drag the sequence, and you'll see that I've now consciously made a branch. And for good media management and naming conventions, I'll go ahead and call this Alt Music. Got that set up there. So now I have a version of that sequence that I created a branch, and I renamed it. No extra files or clips were duplicated, so we kept the project nice and clean and simple. And there's also some neat tricks you can do if you don't need access to the full sequence, such as one of the things that we like to call in Premiere Pro is sort of pancaking timelines, where I can stack timelines together vertically like this to do comparisons, etc. So from this workflow here, I can take any clips from the locked sequence and copy them and drag and drop them, or copy and paste them between timelines, so that if I want to say, I just need these couple clips and move them across my timeline, there is a really neat way to do that. Or I could grab an entire section and say, I just want all of this audio here, and drag that up. So a couple of interesting ways that you can access sequences that someone else has open. So you're not prevented, you're not sitting there waiting for someone to finish the work and making sure that you're not duplicating it. If you consciously want to use elements from another sequence, or again, make branches of sequences, it's very easy to do. And then within a project, one of the nice things to do is just when you're creating versions of a sequence, just iteratively name them. This really helps with media management and organization, so that if this is version 2, if I've been away for a week and I come back to the cutting room and I find my project there, I can quickly tell what's the latest version of that cut. And one of the last things I'll mention here is workflows for working with people who aren't currently on the quantum system connected to a work group. Somebody might be working at home, or somebody might be working at set, and I think the working at home thing's kind of relative these days. So super easy ways to do that. I can just select a project, do a save as, save that project off to a drive, or push it across the network, send it to anybody. It's just the project itself, so rather small. And when that project comes back to collaborate with everybody else, and I want to rejoin it into my production, that's also really easy to do. I can right-click in the production window and say, Add Project to Production. Navigate to the project, just select it there and hit Open. And what that will do is it'll join it back into the production. It's now available for everybody. So if anyone needs to branch off, work remotely, work on set, work at home, work on an airplane, and wants to come back and collaborate with everybody else, really easy to just add that back into the production window. And again, that was just right-click, Add Project to Production. And what that does is it kind of turns on that cross-project referencing magic under the hood of Productions that helps keep these clips and sequences relationships intact, keeps our projects small and performing very, very fluidly. So couple things that we've just thought about, and again, working with customers to make sure that it's flexible for any different workflow. I know 2 customers work the same, so it's great to have that flexibility to be able to adapt. And we've seen really interesting ways that customers are using productions to collaborate with people during these interesting times that we're in, where a lot of people are working remotely. So it's been a very welcome addition to the market, and good timing on our side. But hopefully, we're all back to something that resembles normal soon. It's been an interesting few months. It's an amazingly creative industry, and it's been wonderful to see how people have adapted to making sure that they're keeping their editing going, keeping business continuity going, and being productive during these times. So hopefully, productions can help lend a hand to that. It looks like we're coming up on time, so I'll go ahead.
Yeah. We are very close there, Van. Thank you very much for that. That was a last minute, off the cuff kind of add to the demo there. We didn't actually expect that, but we appreciate the added inputs there. We do have a question, something that says, if I'm working on something offline, do other people still have read access to it?
It was, I guess, hard to clarify whether that meant the media was offline or if I'm working offline from a production. So if I do take a project and I go work remotely, I work at home or I'm on set and when people are shooting, et cetera, no one's going to see that work that's happening while I am offline in that environment. But as soon as I send the project back, because it's linked to the same media, all of those changes or all of the modifications that I made while I was offline or disconnected are now joined back into the collaborative group, and everybody in the production will immediately see those changes and be able to benefit from them.
Okay, perfect. And I think one last one, just a real quick one. I probably should be able to answer this, but I'm going to let you, since you're on the phone here. What's the version of Premiere that this is released in? I think you may have said that earlier.
That's a great question. So we classify the versions under the year. So currently, right now, the versions are Premiere Pro 2020. But the specific version where productions were released, it was 14.1, which came out April 16th, April 14th. So 14.1 is the exact version of Premiere Pro that'll get you access to productions. And again, it should be the latest download on our current Creative Cloud site today.
Okay, perfect. Well, thanks again, Van, for that good demo there, and hopefully we'll have a good response from that. Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Jessica, anything else?
No, I think we wrapped it all up. As always, if you have additional questions, please feel free, and we encourage you to contact your quantum sales team, and we'll, funnel answers respectively through them back to you. If there are any outstanding questions through this Q&A session, we'll definitely come back to you and answer your question as soon as possible. And we'll be also providing additional Adobe sessions throughout the course of later today, as well as tomorrow and Thursday. So Everett will be doing additional presenting on Adobe Productions then. So we welcome you back if you'd like to learn more. So thank you very much.